I started this membership before I even had a template written. I just sent out an email. It was called, Can I Have $9? And at the end, I said, if you purchase, nothing is going to happen because I have to go pick up my daughter from school. But just know your purchase went through. I'm going to email you before 12 p.m. Eastern tomorrow with the first template.
Welcome to Imperfect Action. I'm Steph Taylor. For years, I read all the books, downloaded all the freebies, and did all the courses. But it wasn't until I started taking imperfect action that my business had its first $1 million year. Imperfect action is about doing things before you're ready, prioritizing consistent action over perfect action, and moving forward, even when you're not sure you're doing it right. On this show, you can expect mindset advice, actionable marketing tips, and strategies to build a business that brings you more profit, more freedom, and even more joy. Are you on the list to get my daily Biz Boosters? Every day, I'll send you a bite-sized prompt designed to help you grow your business in a more intentional way. Sign up at stephtaylor.co/DBB or at the link in the show notes. Hey, welcome back to Imperfect Action. This is episode 637. Now, when you think of memberships, you probably think of something that is priced at like $30, $40, maybe $50 a month. And it has a masterclass and maybe a community, and there's a little bit of value that's delivered every single month to the clients. Chances are you've never thought of a membership being successful at $9 a month, right? And that's why I'm so excited to have today's guest on the show, Liz Wilcox. She's a copywriter, and she built and scaled her business off the back of a $9 membership. I really love her approach to business, and I think it's so refreshing to hear somebody say how she really designed this entire business to be low responsibility and to prioritize simplicity in her life. So if you're somebody who's been thinking maybe about doing a membership, or you've never really considered how a membership could look in your business outside of the traditional monthly masterclass kind of model, this episode is it's full of gold for you. So let's jump into the chat with Liz. Liz, welcome to Imperfect Action. I'm excited to have you here, and I'm excited to talk about all things low ticket membership today. For my listeners who've never ever encountered you, could you please tell us a little bit more about who you are and what this magical membership thing that you've got going is all about?
Yeah, what's up, friends? I'm so excited. Yeah, buckle up. We are in for a treat. So, that feeling you get when you listen to an amazing podcast like this one, and there's some wild woman, in your ear talking about for every dollar you spend with email marketing, you can get $40 in return. And they say, go, go, go. And you get really amped up. So, you get through the carpool line and you get home, you open up your ActiveCampaign or MailChimp, and then you probably feel kind of dumb because you have no idea what to say. Well, I realized that was a problem for just about everyone. And so I created a low ticket membership. We're talking $9 a month at the time of this recording, about 2.5 years ago. And I now have almost 3,500 people in the membership. And the last thing I'll share is I started off as an RV blogger. Then I was an RV digital summit host. And then I was an email copywriter service provider. And now I'm turning down 8 and 9 figure business owners because I don't have to anymore, because I have this low ticket membership. So I cannot wait to spill the tea on all of that for you today.
Yes. So I think the obvious place to start here is why $9? Why such a low price point when everybody just assumes, membership, it's got to be $37 a month or $47 a month, and it's got to be full of value every single month. So why $9?
Oh my gosh. I think Steph just answered this question. For me as a service, coming from that service provider background, and I was charging, really high rates. Like people said, oh, you can be a millionaire as a copywriter if you wanted to. So I was like, well, I want to be a millionaire. So here we go. Buckle up. Right. But it was a lot, even though people will typically say, oh, the more you charge, the easier the client is. There's something in the back of my brain, and whether or not I ever want to fix this, that was like, if I'm charging $7,000 for XYZ, I got to show up and bring it. Steph and I were talking behind the scenes, and I said, we're recording. I'm in the US. She's not, obviously. And so our time zones, and I said, I have to get dressed, right? And so I like to, hold a certain level of responsibility. And on the flip side of that, I have a lot of responsibility in my home life. I have 3 leases in my name. I support my mom fully financially. I'm a single parent. I got a lot going on. And I remember I was on the phone with an accountability coach, and I said, I just feel like there's too much responsibility. I'm responsible for so much in my life, and I don't want to take client work anymore. I'm willing to, put in the reps, lay the bricks. But one day, like, I just want to have this sort of autopilot type of, the one everybody dreams about, right? But I was serious. I was willing to figure it out. And so when I created the membership, and I'm sure we'll talk more about that, I thought about the price, and it was, what is the least amount of responsibility? Like I mentioned, I'm going to give you a newsletter every single week. And unlike sales emails, which people are like, oh, yeah, I'm going to spend this money, and oh my gosh, do I hope I make it back? I hope I make it. With newsletters, it's a low, responsibility. Oh yeah, Liz is going to teach me how to connect each week, but we're going to do it over and over and over and over. And then one day I can graduate, I can get to that second, third step. And still to this day, I tell people, like, I know you've had Tarzan K on your show, I think 2 or 3 times. I say, go to Tarzan, go to Aman, go to, all these other copywriters. They're the pros. I'm good at the first step because it's low responsibility. And so that $9 felt like low responsibility for me. Like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to give you the template. Anything else is going to be above and beyond, but also low responsibility for that consumer who maybe, like me, has a lot of responsibility in their personal life, can't really, it's like nail biting to spend $50, $100 a month. $9 felt like good energy on both sides for me.
And it's a really easy yes. Like, I think that's the big thing, is it's a really easy yes for somebody who might not even know you that well, for them to then come in and for them to come into your world and be like, oh, this is a really easy step to take. So when you chose to price it at $9, was there ever a point where you were like doing the mental math of like, oh, if I want to make $9,000 a month, I have to have 1,000 people in there. How am I going to get those people in? Like, was there a point where you were worried about the volume?
Yeah, y'all give Steph a 5-star review right now. Pause the podcast. She is coming in with the excellent questions. Absolutely, I was doing the math. When I created the membership, I had just signed $20,000 in client work in service provider for, writing emails. And I should have been elated, right? I got 3 leases in my name. Like, that's 3-4 months. Nobody is going hungry. And in 4 months, I'll figure it out again, right? But for some reason, again, that responsibility. So I sat down and I was thinking about this $9 offer. And I thought, how much time do I have to give myself to make that, to steps number $9,000 a month? And how much am I willing to work on the side, so to speak? And I know that's so hard for service providers, right? We get this big cash influx, and then it's like, oh, there's no time for LizWilcox.com. There's no time for, me, right? And I was like, oh, with this low responsibility thing, if I can do it in 2 years, maybe I can get 1,000 members, right? 1,000 times 9, that's $9,000. And y'all, I was born in Detroit, Michigan. I don't know. Google Detroit if you've ever heard of it. It's like $9,000 a month might as well be $1 million a month. For me, that was like, oh my, yes, that I'm going to be able to take care of my family. That's going to free up my time for other projects. I don't know about you, but I'm a really creative person. I don't ever lack ideas. If I can wait 2 years for $9,000 a month, and then I can retire my services, wow, what a life that would be. And so I was willing to kind of chip away at that membership, grow the membership slowly. And I was willing to put in the work for 2 years. Because y'all, and Steph, let me know if you agree with this. The biggest mistake I see entrepreneurs making is they just give up too early. They give up before something hooks, right?
Yeah, they change direction all the time. And then, it's like you're constantly starting from zero rather than rather than taking one thing and working with it long enough to learn from your experience with it, learn from your audience, the feedback, all of that for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. And y'all, this is not, me accusing you. I've had 3 businesses. I bought a 4th. Like I get it. But I know that, I knew it was a good idea. I knew, just like at the top when I'm like, you get on and you feel stupid because you da. I know that's a pain point. I know that's an obstacle for almost every entrepreneur. I don't care if you're e-commerce, service provider, local business, coach, course creator. I know newsletters are not only the biggest struggle, but also the biggest path to that, $40 in return, right? And so I knew if I could just give it 2 years, I can do 2 more years of copywriting. I'm going to, store away like a little mouse for winter. I'm going to store away the money that I make from the membership. So one day I can retire my services. And y'all, I did not need 2 years. It took about, what's 11 minus 2? 9 months. Took about 9 months.
To get to 1,000 people in the membership.
It took 12 months to get to 1,000. It took 9 months for me to save up enough money. I saved up an entire year's salary, which was $50,000, and was able to retire my services. And that was like 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
And it feels so good to say no.
Wow. So I know for some of the people listening, or for many of the people listening to this episode, they're going to be thinking like those kind of numbers are just out of reach for them. Like it's not possible for them to get 1,000 people in. Like where would they get 1,000 people into their membership when they don't even have 1,000 followers on Instagram? How have you grown your membership to the size and the scale that it's at now?
Yeah, a few different ways. So number one, of course, I already had an email list. It was about 800 people. So it wasn't this huge list, but I was connecting with them. I was making sure, I'm the newsletter lady. Okay. And so when I launched it, let me say this first, y'all, no one will ever be more excited about your offer than you. And if they are, you need a new offer, or you need to, take a nap and come back later.
Yeah.
Like this is not a hip hop concert. No one is coming on before you come on to hype you up and get the crowd excited. You have to be your own hype man. So within those first 30 days, I went to my list. I think on social media, I had maybe like 300 followers on Instagram, right? And I went and I said, okay, I just launched this $9 thing. I want to get 100 people in the first 30 days. I think this is a really good idea. It's a stupid price. Let's go, people. Let's get behind this. And it's the same as, Beyonce, Taylor Swift. They're like, hey, this is about to happen. This is about to happen. I want to sell out. I want to do this. I want to do that. Right. And then the audience gets behind and makes it happen. Right. And so I said, I want to hit 100. I really believe in this offer. Oh my gosh, $9. Are you kidding me? Join before, my business coach can convince me otherwise, right? And I got that 100 people in that first 30 days. I think it took me 28 days. And then from there, of course, it was a little bit of a lull. I had to fulfill that $20,000 worth of copywriting after all. But as a service provider, and I don't recommend this for everyone, but this is just how committed I was to my dream and to making this happen. And also I'm a morning person. So I got up at 4 a.m. every single morning and I worked on my copywriting stuff. That's when my brain was fresh. I had to write words. Being a service provider can be really difficult, especially more than one client at a time. So I wanted to use my brain when it was fresh for that. And then in the afternoon, maybe 1 or 2 hours in the afternoon, I'm answering my own emails, writing my own newsletter, and just making connections, just asking people in the membership, hey, do you know anybody that needs this? I would love to, hit 300 by summer, and just keeping that goal. Steph and I were talking before we hit record. I'm super transparent. I'm constantly telling people exactly what is going on in my business. And so just saying, I really hope to get to 300 by June, and people just naturally started, oh yeah, I know somebody who is doing that. So who needs newsletters? So I'm going to go with that. And then from there, I opened up an affiliate program. So around summer, about 5 months later, I opened up an affiliate program and I offered 50% of any sale. And yeah, Steph, you can't see her face, but her eyeballs just went. But for me, again, y'all have to remember, I'm thinking 2 years into the future. So I'm thinking if maybe I lose my quote unquote lose money right now, but I only need that 1,000 people to hit 9,000. But I know the potential. I could hit 100,000. Who knows, right? Sky's the limit with this market. And so I was willing to, lose money in the beginning to get that membership, to keep that momentum and to not have me be the only one, keeping that momentum going. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. So question that I think is going to be on my audience's mind right now is, so that $4.50, was that $4.50 like lifetime commission each month that somebody was a member?
Yes.
Okay. So it wasn't just like somebody's referring and they're getting $4.50. That's it.
Yeah. It's every single month. And for me, that's when it sort of took off, because then I told people, contrary to much of the affiliate advice out there, it's like, oh, you want to get big names. You want to, so that they can sell a bunch, and nobody's going to sell anything that's $9, Liz. So, but I knew most of my people are beginners. They're like 1 to 3 years in their business. They know email, they need it, but it's just not something, it's a knot they can't untangle. So I said, if you just get 2 members, that pays for your membership every single month. Like, let's go. And I have so many people that just have 2 members, but 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, right now we're sitting at 3,500. And I'm so grateful and I feel so blessed to be able to pay that out. Right now I pay out between 100 and 400 people a month, but I'm still making money. My lights are on right now.
So we've talked a bit about how you've grown it, but how do you keep adding people to the membership, and how do you keep, what's that, I guess, pathway or funnel or journey into the membership once somebody comes into your world? Do you just send them, hey, directly, go join my membership? Or do you have like a lead magnet? What are you doing to funnel people into that membership?
Yeah, I think after about 9 to 12 months, it truly just started spreading word of mouth. Like we're talking about it today. I'm not a membership expert, y'all. We should have put that at the beginning. I've only run this one membership. And it just started spreading word of mouth. So, of course, it's my tripwire. I do a lot of visibility work. For me, and I'm sure Steph will agree, list building and visibility, it's like Tia and Tamara. It's like Mary-Kate and Ashley. Like they're different, but I can't tell the difference, right? So just getting on podcasts, talking about email, making sure that's my tripwire. And the 4th email in my welcome sequence it's literally says, can I have $9? And I say, hey, I'm only going to pitch this once. This isn't a big giant funnel. Like, aren't you glad that I'm not trying to funnel? I just met you and I'm only asking for $9. Here's the spiel. Hope you join. And then I think what really, really has been, I don't know, like the catalyst for this extreme growth, at that 9-month mark that I was talking about earlier, I decided to do something really, really silly and really, really outrageous. And side note, I tend to just do things crazy. And Steph and I, we were talking before and we said, most people, $50, $100 membership. But I'm sitting at my desk and the TV is right to my left. And I'm thinking, well, Netflix was like $7 when they started, right? And, 7 times $1 million. And I don't need that much money, right? And then I thought about Costco. Do y'all know about Costco? They make almost all their profit from their $60 a month membership fee. Okay. And and I'm thinking about Costco. I'm like, okay, well, I don't have a land lease. I don't have to pay, workers' compensation. I don't, I'm not in contracts for 100 years. I don't have employees. I'm just Liz. I just need to pay for me, my family. Hopefully one day I can bring my sister into the fold. I don't need that much money. I only need 10,000 people would be $1 million membership. I could wait 10 years for that. Right. And so I did something wild. It was Black Friday. I sent out an email and I said, thinking about Costco and how, you get in the store, you basically get everything at cost. And I sent out an email to my current members. I said, hey, I'm thinking about if you pay me a year, that's $108, 9 times 12. If you pay me upfront for a year, this shiz is going to be like Costco. You're going to be able to get in and get everything else LizWilcox.com has entirely for free because I don't have fees the way Costco has fees. So I'm going to be making money anyway. So of course, like y'all can't see Steph, but she's tripping. She's like, what?
My light bulb brain is going off.
So I like to think outside the box. So of course, I immediately get this flood of emails that come back that say, Liz, you cannot do that. Because I just said, this is an idea I'm thinking about. Liz, you can't do that. You're going to go broke. Nobody's going to be able to pay you for the rest of the year. So how are you going to make any money? And then it was like, ... But if you decide to do it, I'm ready to pay. Show me the card. And that, Steph, that was when I knew that was what I needed to do because everyone was ready to throw money at me. And remember guys, I was planning that 2-year strategy. So having somebody in for a year, locking them in for a year when I'm just 9 months, that pretty much commits Liz Wilcox to doing the work for another year and not giving up. Right. So I was building in my own accountability to these people. Right. And so I did the sale. I said, I'm only going to sell 100 because what if they're right? What if I don't make any more money? Like I'm going to have to go back to copywriting. And this is when I saved up the 50,000. This is when it pushed me. I had like 20 or 30,000 saved up. This is what pushed me over and I was able to, retire. I sent out an email. I said, I'm only selling 100 of these. I thought it would take 48 hours. It was like Cyber Saturday or whatever. It took 2 hours. I sold out. And then everybody was, PISSED because they didn't get in. So I opened it a few weeks later. I polled the audience. Would you guys be mad? Does this feel gross? They said, no, we want in. Please let us in. And so I opened it a few weeks later. I sold another 225. So that was something, like $35,000 plus an upsell. It was like $40,000 in 3 weeks. And y'all, when I tell you my little service provider self thought like, whoa, what just happened? It's still like I'm turning red. It still feels unbelievable.
Oh, and I know before we hit record, you mentioned how you were like pretty transparent with numbers and you talked about how you just wrapped up a launch. And as somebody who like one of the things I teach is launches, but one of the questions I get all the time is like, oh, I've got a really low ticket offer, like $27, $30. And is it worthwhile doing a live launch for that? And normally I'm like, well, like you're going to get maybe 100 people and that's like a $3,000 launch. So like, it's a lot of effort for quite a low return. Talk me a little bit through like your live launching. What does that look like for you? Are you doing a webinar or is it like a limited time campaign? What does it look like for you?
Yeah, y'all, I'm not doing no webinar for $108. I mean, maybe if I did, I'd have a 7-figure launch. I don't know. So I just did a launch, March 2023 and I made about, I think it was $73,000 in 5 days.
What? How?
Yeah, I made 662 sales. So somebody do the math times 108. I had my notebook. And of course,
so that's like, that's pretty, wow.
Yeah, it was over 70,000 and there was no upsell. So that's strictly from the $108 buy a year, you get in the store for free type of thing. And right now, so let's backtrack. Right now, my membership on the monthly is about a 5-figure. It's anywhere from $10,000 to $12,000 a month I'm making per month. And then every 4 months since that one Black Friday, I said, oh, I'm going to do this again. Oh, I'm going to do this again. And so, sure, it's some upfront work. At first, you've got to write the emails. You have to find some affiliates. But now, y'all, my last two launches, my Black Friday launch made $88,000. And then 4 months later, I made another, let's say, $73,000 to $75,000. So it's worth doing a little bit of upfront work. And y'all, this is email only. I'm not running Facebook ads. I'm not going live anywhere. I mean, if an affiliate wants me to do a live Q&A, I do that. But at this point, I don't even offer that anymore. I have I think 700 affiliates. So only the people that come to me get that type of thing. Because if I blast it out, then, I'm not sleeping. It's 24/7, right? So, but at first it was worth it, reaching out to a few select affiliates. Hey, do you mind, do you want to do something like a Facebook or live or an Instagram live? Just really low key, 10 to 15 minutes. It's not a webinar. It's just a Q&A. Ask your people to ask me some questions. We'll go live. You'll send out an email. And so, I made about $70-something thousand last month from that. Plus, at this point, then I'm also getting another X amount from the people that are renewing, because now I've been doing it, 1-2 years. So I made an additional 150 sales, so an additional, $16,000, and had a 6-figure month just from asking people for $108, which it breaks down to that, $9 price, 9 times 12. They're with me for a year. They're committed for a year.
Wow, this is blowing my mind. Blowing my mind that something so low ticket can become so incredibly scalable, and without needing that Netflix level of impact and influence and reach and all of that, and without needing to run ads is the other crazy one. So let's talk logistics of what's going on behind the scenes now. When somebody signs up for the membership, are they getting community, or are they just getting purely templates? What's going into actually running and delivering this membership every single month for you?
That's a great question. So at the start, there was no community, right? It was, hey, this is $9. You're going to get a template delivered to you every single week. What more do you want from me? Right? And that was, again, going back to that low responsibility, which is what I personally needed for my personal life. And people loved it. So every Monday morning, you get a template delivered straight to your inbox. And then I also do a live Q&A once a month. And that was kind of where the community started. People come in, and y'all, I stay as long as people. Nowadays, I have over 100 people come to the live calls. And if you're like, wow, that's a lot, that's still only 2%, right? That's a small, I'm not a mathematician, but it's still a very small percent. So if you've only got 10 people and one person shows up, you're doing better than Liz Wilcox right now. Okay. So that's where the community started. And it wasn't until I hit 1,000 members that I said, oh, I should open up a Facebook group so these people can talk, because they're starting to send me questions. And of course I want to answer, but again, it's $9. I have other things to do. So I opened up a Facebook group, and now that Facebook group, I think, has over 3,000 members. And people pretty much just answer questions themselves, especially the people that are committed for the year. They're actually taking action. They're listening to me. They're watching. I have a couple more trainings in the membership now, foundational stuff. And so somebody asked me a personal question. And this morning I had 3 other people answer it better than I would have answered it, really well thought out. So that is part of it now, but it wasn't for 13 months. So if you're just getting started, especially at the low price point, you can just directly say in your emails and your marketing, hey, at this price point, it's just the content, right? I've curated it for you to get out there and take action. Maybe in the future we'll have a community, but at this point, it's $9, it's $20, it's 30, whatever. You're going to get what you need and nothing else. And that's actually going to behoove you to actually do the thing.
And do you have like a platform where you run the membership? Like, is this on Kajabi or like, is
Oh
this
my
somewhere where they
gosh.
can go and access the past ones? Or is this just literally an email every week?
Y'all, I'm so glad she asked me this. This is why I wanted to be on this podcast. So,
I'm just thinking what my listeners are going to be asking.
Yeah.
Like, I know how they think.
Absolutely. Imperfect action, y'all. I started this membership before I even had a template written. I just sent out an email. It was called, Can I Have $9? And at the end, I said, if you purchase, nothing is going to happen because I have to go pick up my daughter from school. But just know your purchase went through. I'm going to email you before 12 p.m. Eastern tomorrow with the first template. And this is why I want to be on the podcast. Because y'all, I'm only semi-pro. I'm never going to make it to the NBA. Okay. That's not me. I'm going to stay in my amateur hour over here. So for the first 1,000 members, it wasn't until I hit 1,000 members that I thought, I should put these templates on a platform. Do you want to know where they were before?
Where?
Google Drive. They were in a Google Drive. Every Monday morning, you got a link to a new Google Doc. And I just asked you, please don't share this. And I said, here's the template. And it comes with like a video walkthrough. It comes with a couple other things, so you can actually use it, right? But it was just a Google Doc. And once I started, getting a lot more affiliates and getting cold traffic, so to speak, people like, Steph, we just met through Steph, right? And so if you don't know me as well as if you came directly to me. And so I was like, this is getting, it's getting a lot of templates because you had access to every single template. This wasn't just today's and you lose it, right? That was not a thing. I wanted you to have it in case this one didn't vibe with you. You could go back in the archives, right? And they're also categorized by, your objective. So if you need replies, go over here. If you need, surveys, go over here. If you, want whatever, go over here, right? And so I wanted you to have that catalog. And so after a year, I actually had a member reach out and she said, hey, I know you're trying to keep it low cost. So that makes sense why you're not on Kajabi or Teachable, right? Because that costs money, especially 1,000 users. That's a lot of money, right? I'm not going to be able to give you $4.50 if I'm giving Kajabi $4.50. You know what I'm saying? So she said, I can build this for you on WordPress with free plugins. I said, Pixar didn't happen. Right? I was like, let's get on a call. Let's see. Because I also wanted it to be incredibly simple. My main objective, and when you're creating a membership, your main objective really should be for people to take action, right? For people to actually do the thing, right? And so I said, this has to be incredibly simple. I don't want to add steps and convolute people from the templates because email already feels complicated. So if the onboarding and the way to get the templates is complicated, I'm never going to do it. I'll keep it in Google Drive forever because it's just so simple. So she created it. It was $500. She created it for me. $500 this membership platform cost me. It's hosted directly on LizWilcox.com. It's still going strong with thousands and thousands of users. I have absolutely no issues with it. Sure, is it perfect? No, but it works. I would say 90%. Sometimes you got to hit a back button or hit refresh, right? It's WordPress. It's not meant for that, but I have thousands of members and very rarely do I get the, oh my gosh, this isn't working or what the heck. So yeah, y'all just get started. I'm so glad to share this story because 1,000 members, 13 months before I said, you know what? I think this probably needs a platform. I think this is a viable product and I should probably spend some money on.
I'm so glad you shared that because something I notice so much, like every time I survey my email list, survey my podcast listeners, asking them like, what do you want to know about building an online business? What do you want to know about launching a digital product? Like all of the different topics. The one thing that comes up over and over and over again is I want to create an online course, but I don't know where to host it. And I'm like, well, hang on, you're putting the cart before the horse here. And same with memberships. Like they're thinking like, how do I host it? How are the logistics going to play it? How am I going to do this? What's the community going to be? And they get into this overthinking before they even know what the membership is going to deliver. what value is in it, what's in it for their clients. So I'm really, really glad you shared that. And while you were talking, I was scribbling some notes. It really got me thinking, because I know with memberships, retention is usually one of the most challenging things. Activation, getting somebody to take action when they sign up, because when you invest $9, you don't have as much skin in the game as if you've just bought a $2,000 course. So obviously getting them to take action, and then also getting them to stick around and not continually say like, Liz, well, I've been in here for 12 months and I just have so many templates and I'm not using them as much as I would be. So I'm just going to pause or cancel now and come back in 6 months' time when I have more time. How have you approached both the onboarding and the retention to make sure that you get people to take action and keep them engaged?
Yeah. So for me, again, keeping it simple, especially with a low cost membership, they say, oh, the churn is going to be higher. And, at first I just didn't pay attention to it. I just wanted, to get visible. Let's get visible, baby. Right. And, the early adopters, especially like putting the cart before the horse, early adopters normally stay with you for a while. They like you. And so they're just hopping on board, especially if you have an online or some kind of personal brand, right? They like you, they like the way you're teaching. And so they're going to hop on and they're going to stay for a while. And so at first my churn was like almost nothing. And I only had one onboarding sequence, but one email in the onboarding sequence. I was like, hey, here you go. But because I'm emailing every single Monday with the template, hey, this is new content. It keeps them engaged. Oh yeah, I signed up for this. Let me check that out. And in every single email, I say, here is the link to log into the membership. They don't have to find it. I'm not asking them to bookmark it. I'm not asking them to put things in the calendar. I do live Q&As. I do guest experts. And with that, again, it's not just asking them to put it in a calendar. It's, hey, here's a calendar link if you want, but I'm going to email you again, on Thursday, 20 minutes before, in case you can come hang out, right? And then the next day, here's the replay in case you didn't, had fun. So I'm emailing quite a bit, right? Especially on a week where I have something. You might hear from me, a few times, on top of I never omit them from the newsletter, right? Because they still need to get a good grasp on what LizWilcox.com is doing, right? It's not just the membership. I might be doing affiliate offers, or I'm going to go live over on Instagram, or, check out me and Steph's new podcast episode, where I spill all the tea, blah, blah, blah. I have other things going on outside of what I promised you in the $9. So I really highly recommend keeping them on the newsletter. Once somebody purchases, we don't stop giving them the newsletter, right? That seems wild. And now I do have a more updated onboarding sequence. I have a new member orientation they can watch. I did that live a few times and then recorded it. And that's great as you grow to be able to refer to that. When you have 1,000 members and people are having questions about logins, saying, hey, don't forget, watch the first 6 minutes of this video. It's going to walk you through that. I could type it all out, but seeing is believing. Okay. You're going to get it. And then about 3 months in, I send a happy anniversary email, and I even made a little GIF. I have a note card and it says happy anniversary, and I'm putting it up. And I just say, if there's anything that you need, hit reply. I'm so glad you're with me. And I do that at 3 months strategically, because I found, and this, I'm just speaking for low ticket and my experience, but I found around 3 to 4 months is when people, I'm not using this, or I need to cut expenses, and they cancel. So they get that little, you just heard Steph, oh, that's cute. They get that little, and they're like, oh yeah, this lady really cares. I need to log in and do the thing. And I'm also constantly referring people to the Facebook group I now have. Oh, that's a great question. Ask it in the Facebook group. That's going to help everybody, so they feel part of the community. But in general, my churn rate each month is about 3%. So it's pretty low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I have so many, I'm just popping up with so many questions I want to ask you. And I am conscious that we don't have a huge amount of time. So this is the last kind of detail oriented question I'm going to ask you. Have you ever thought about having two pricing tiers? Was that ever a consideration for you?
Yeah, I've thought about it and it's an immediate no for me. Again, simple is my superpower, y'all. If you look me up, you'll be like, wow, this is just dumb simple. I always say I'm a 2-step chick. If it takes 3 steps, it's an immediate no. And for me, I would have to set up a new sales page. I'd have to really think through what's the right price. I would have to add more responsibility to myself, right? If I'm charging a higher price, like a lot of people say, if you're a copywriter, I let you in my membership for $9 and you can use these templates for your clients. And people say, and I'll even have some copywriters come and always, do I need to be paying another level for this? Which is great. And I say, no, that's too complicated for me. Peace be with you. Be blessed, right?
Wow.
And for me, it's just because y'all, again, and not to say my life is chaotic. It's not. But when I was first starting, it was. And for me, I just want to keep it as simple as possible. So 2 steps point at the beginning of this conversation, it's a no-brainer.
I love this. Simple is your superpower. That is so genius. And I'm so glad you've recognized that, because I think in the online business space, there's just so much pressure to make things complicated and have upsells and all the millions of pricing options and downsells and all the big live launches. And I play into that as well. I know I'm guilty of that narrative as well, but it's just so refreshing to hear somebody who knows, you're so clear on what you want to do, what you don't want to do, and how that fits in with your life. And I think that is the true definition of a lifestyle business. So thank you so much for sharing.
Wow. I think that's the first time anyone said that to me. Thank you so much. And y'all, and this goes back to knowing yourself and knowing, what kind of lifestyle you want. And even my business coach at the beginning, Liz, what about $19? $27. You're giving away the farm here. And, he did that because he loves me. And I said, I just want that low responsibility, and it takes me now, to write the template takes me 40 minutes. And now my sister puts it into WordPress. If I had to put it into WordPress, it'd take another 20 minutes and then 10 minutes to duplicate last week's email and put in this week's information, right? It's really does not take me that long nowadays. And y'all, I'm going to say this and it's going to sound wild. And I just want you to know, remember, I said I used to wake up at 4 a.m. every single day for almost a year. So I did do the work and now I'm reaping the results. I really only work 3 or 4 hours a day and I'm taking the entire summer off. And I was able to hire my sister full time so she can, retire herself from a job that she doesn't love. It has $9. Sounds crazy. But it starts with that intention. When I guess to wrap it up, it starts with knowing exactly what you want. And when you know exactly what you want and you feel in your gut, yes, this is the direction I need to go, it becomes easier to say no. When that 9-figure business owner, oh, Liz, write these emails for me. I'm like, no, you can join the membership. And guess what? He's in the membership now and he uses templates.
Yeah.
And it's just really knowing what it is you want and being, unashamed of going after it and getting it for yourself. And now I really do have this dream life that I'm going to tear up. I'm really, single mom, supporting her mom. I never would have dreamed. Seriously, it's wild. But you can have it too. You can have it too. You just have to know what you want.
Oh, I love that so much. Liz, we are running out of time. And I know the next question that is on my listeners' minds is, where the heck can I find out about this magical membership? Where can they go to get your email templates every week?
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, I'm an email marketer. You can go directly to lizwilcox.com. If you hit that hot pink button in the top right hand corner, you are going to get my freebie, and the Tripwire is that $9 membership. But the freebie itself is a good starting point. You're going to get a welcome sequence already written for you. You're going to get 3 newsletter samples directly from the membership, one to show you how to get people to click, another to show you how to get people to reply, and another to show you how to get people to buy directly from your newsletter. And if that's not enough, because I know writing from scratch totally sucks, you're going to get 52 subject lines, all for free. LizWilcox.com, hot pink button. You can't miss it.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to go and sign up for this.
Yay.
Liz, thank you so much. This has been such a fun conversation for me, like diving into something that is just so unfamiliar for me. And honestly, I feel like I've learned so much. You have set off so many light bulbs in my brain. So watch out, audience. There might be a $9 membership coming.
Awesome.
But thank you, Liz,
so
for
much.
sharing this and for being so open and honest with us as well.
Yeah, thank you. I can't wait to see what everybody does with email.
All right, that is it for today's episode. If you haven't already hit subscribe, make sure you hit the plus button in Apple Podcasts or the follow button in Spotify, and you'll get each new episode straight to your podcast app every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you so much for listening. Catch you next time.